Hello everybody, my name is David. Thank you for watching Crazy Narcissist Ex-Girlfriend. Today, this is a very important video. This is something that I share and I help my clients with when I talk to them. This is stuff that I always tell them right away to help them understand why this happened, you know. And the first thing I want to tell everybody, and you guys hopefully know this, that this is not your fault, okay? This is not your fault, and everything you feel is normal. It's a normal reaction to this. This is not a normal relationship, so you don't have normal feelings. That is a normal reaction. A lot of people think in their recovery after a narcissistic relationship, they believe that after they've learned everything and they know all the information, they've gone no contact for a while now, and they haven't talked to that person, they're over that person, they don't want anything to do with that person anymore. They think that the recovery is over. They think they've done it. And it's not. It's not. It's very important to know why this happened. Even though this wasn't your fault, there's a reason that you stayed with someone that abused you. Now, I know the abuse is silent and it's covert and it's not that apparent and you didn't even know maybe that you were abused. I understand that. But we need to make sure you don't do this again, right? So there's some things I can tell you guys to help you, if you don't already know, to help you figure out kind of what your part in this was and what you can do to, in your recovery, to keep going, to not do this again, okay? So the first thing I always tell my clients when I talk to them is I let them know that it is common amongst everyone that I help and everyone that I treat that one or both of your parents were usually either had an addiction to alcohol, drugs, food, workaholic is very common, and or they might be had a mental illness, personality disorder, something like that. And basically, it seems that our parents somehow, in some way, shape, or form, abandoned us or neglected us or abused us. The abandonment and neglect doesn't have to be so extreme. It's not like they just up and left you there and you never talk to them again. This is abandoning your needs that you had and things that children need, and they weren't there for you. So I'm not trying to say you had bad parents. I'm not trying to say they failed. I'm just trying to say that they didn't do their part that you're supposed to do, because basically it comes down to your emotional needs weren't met. Because if they were, most people that had their emotional needs met don't fall into these relationships, okay? So some of the emotional needs that weren't met probably is some of these. One of the emotional needs that children have is attachment. The child needs to the parent needs to put the child first at a very, very young age. And it's unconditional love. It's absolute making that child feel secure, feelings of security, nurture, okay? And you really want to form that bond right away. And sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes the child doesn't get to feel that bond, that attachment. Sometimes there's problems in that. Another one is the child needs to be able to express their needs and emotions. And this is a big one. If you're a female and you're going through adolescence and you couldn't talk to your parents about what it's like to become a woman, right? They're not meeting your emotional needs. If you felt that your feelings and emotions weren't important, stay quiet, stay silent, don't ask questions, and never get any answers. Okay, that's not having your needs met. And what needs to happen is your parents need to do things like eye contact and listen to you. This is when they teach you emotional regulation. Okay? Another emotional need that children have is they need to be able to feel like they can just be spontaneous and go out and play whenever they want and do stuff like that. This really helps creativity. It really helps the right hemisphere develop, okay? And this is huge. A lot of children feel like they can't. It's just constant, be quiet, keep your hands to yourself down here, don't say anything, don't touch anything, you know. They need to be able to play, and it shouldn't be so regulated as to, okay, from 10 to 10:15 a.m. you can play, and that's it, Johnny. You know what I mean? Otherwise, you know what I mean? It's like, let them just go sometimes and just do what they want, and let them go do things on their own, and let them fail, stuff like that. Another very, very important part, an emotional need that a child has, is you need to teach that child autonomy and independence. And this is when the child separates from the parent. And this is very important. This is something a lot of narcissist parents don't let the child do, is separate and feel that autonomous. Be autonomous, be independent, do things for yourself, that where it really defines that line between the child and the parent. Very, very important. Another emotional need is the need for boundaries. Okay? And this is something a lot of parents don't teach children. And they might teach them, like, we don't accept candy from strangers, stuff like that. But what we end up teaching our children is boundaries for us, for the parent. And you need to teach the child boundaries for them. They need to realize and have and know that if somebody makes you feel uncomfortable or bad and makes you do something you don't want to do, you have the right to speak up, and you have the responsibility to speak up. This is something we need to teach our children that we don't. And this is what the type of children that go and fall into relationships with narcissists. See, when your emotional needs aren't met, for one, there's a void. And that void can be easily filled by a toxic person. Okay? Through all that love bombing, all that shame sharing they share with you, their shame, your shame, stuff like that. Okay? The other thing is, when your parents aren't meeting your emotional needs, it's very comfortable and feels very normal to be in a relationship with a narcissist that doesn't meet your emotional needs. And you aren't realizing this because everything's normal. You're still being quiet. You're keeping your hands down yourself. You're not telling them how you feel, just like you were taught as a child. You're doing everything you're supposed to do. They're doing everything your parents did, and it all feels normal. So, it's not. It's not normal, okay? For whatever reason, your parents didn't teach you these, didn't feel your emotional needs, and you can figure out why. Look into your parents and figure out what happened, Was your father a workaholic and your mother alcoholic or enabler? And there's different things you should work out and figure out. This is really going to help your recovery, and this is really going to help you not do this again. Because the number one reason, right, we let people do this is we don't have boundaries. We didn't have boundaries. We didn't tell people not to do this, not to do that. We also felt unworthy because of our childhood shame. We felt unworthy to have these boundaries. Right? So you got to deal with your childhood shame. There's things that you probably feel ashamed about from your childhood, and all you have to do is you talk to somebody. You have to go back, you have to feel those feelings and talk about it. And it shrinks it way down. And it makes us feel worthy enough to have these healthy boundaries to not let people do this to us again. Okay? So there's a lot more involved than just watching out for red flags and this and that. And there's a lot more involved than just getting over your ex and getting information, being all informed about narcissists. Okay, that's one stage, and then you got to enter the next stage, right? And that's figuring out how this happened, why this happened, and how to prevent it from happening again. All right? Any questions you guys have, please go down below in the comment section and ask me. I'll answer all your questions. Okay? Please give this video a thumbs up, a like. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And share this video with someone you think that it could help. Love yourself first, guys. Okay? Put yourself first. Put your needs first. Put your feelings first and your emotions first before other people's. They're more important than other people, okay? You need to take care of those first, your needs, because they haven't been taken care of. And you can't rely on somebody else to take care of all your emotional needs. And when you share your life with somebody else, they need to fulfill and meet your emotional needs. Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye-bye. Danny Dog Productions.